Travis Wayne Goodsell. So now that they don't know the date for the coming of Jesus Christ, and Nelson has said you can find Jesus in the temple, you can feel him. They're now coming out with an apostle involved with the second annual conference in June for CES religious educators. Not students, educators. So still not for the young adults. The apostles are still not speaking to them. I don't know why. I do, but you don't believe. You have Elder Wada inviting BYU Pathway students to trust God's voice in the scriptures. Well, that was rejected by the First Creed of Christianity, by the way. Even though the book of John was allowed in, it was still rejected. You've got to turn it literal history and treat it as if it were literal history about Jesus, and now it's okay. But as written, Jesus as the Word, no. Unacceptable for homoousion Jesus. And technically, that's not even the Mormon Jesus, because the Mormon Jesus is pagan. Heavenly Mother, Jesus is Lucifer's brother. We can become gods, God sperm. Yeah, those are all pagan. Constantine did away with all of those pagan religions. They didn't believe in Jesus. Hell, and they're doing a series apparently once a week. New 70 elders. Stephen C. Barlow has found light by turning on the switch. Joy and peace by putting God first. Which God? Do you get to make up whatever God you want? And it automatically is true for you. My truth, truth or God. Those sounds like the philosophies of the world that caused a lot of problems. A lot of problems. So let me remind you of the wisdom and great knowledge and power of Russell Marion Nelson. As you sincerely seek Jesus Christ, you will find him here in his holy house. So Jesus isn't coming for the second coming. You'll only feel him in the temple. Seek and you shall find. See, my grandma's generation, my grandma Yearsley, she got married. When she'd gone through the temple, she didn't go on a mission, so she got endowed when she got married. And so she's a boomer. She's dead. That's how you know she's a boomer. Boomers are dead. Boomer grand boomers. Quit changing definitions, guys. And she had believed that in the temple you will see Jesus if you are righteous enough. See with your eyes. See, there was no spiritual witness feelings back in those days. It was the literal voice of God. It was seeing God physically in the temple. And the idea was that if you were able to see Jesus in the flesh, in the temple, your calling and election was made sure. You'd done it. Good job! You can slack off for the rest of your life. Become a lazy learner and a lax disciple. So one day when my grandma was in the temple, she saw Jesus. Told her bishop, "Bishop, I saw Jesus in the temple." And the bishop said, "Wow, your calling and election is made sure." So there you have it. That's how it's done, Mormons. My grandma was perfect. Sucks to be you, doesn't it? And so her racism doesn't matter. She's perfect. She saw Jesus. Jesus had not repented of his racism at that time. So yes, as my mother told me, she was not as racist as her parents. My mom told me that after Jesus repented of his racism. Yep. So no, it was before the church leaders came out and said you need to be clean cut to be in the temple. It's just a guy with the beard and mustache, and thus wearing the white robes in the temple. She thought it was Jesus. Matthew chapter 7. Judge all, that they all be judged. Keep reading. Don't just assume that that's what it said and therefore you don't need to read the rest. Use it as an excuse so that you can commit crime and sin. You can't judge me. Because when you tell someone not to judge you, you're judging them. And oops, you pulled a beam and moat. That's what you missed by not keeping reading. You also missed seek and find. Ask, and it shall be given unto you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth. So, Nelson, seek Jesus, you'll find him in the temple. Mormons no longer believe in the physical Jesus anymore. Mormons apparently have transitioned into full-on Homoousion Christianity. Not real. Jesus no longer has a body of flesh and bone as tangible as man's. That we can see him face to face, talk with him as one man speaketh with another. Because why would President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Russell Marion Nelson, tell us that Jesus won't actually physically appear? Because no man knows his day anymore. And it's only through feelings. Feel his mercy. Not getting it yet? Keep reading. verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing. Okay, well, let's check the labels. Is that how you judge? No. Even those who do memes know better than that. But inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. What a fruit? Oh, you're not a farmer, you don't know. What, you don't have a spiritual witness feeling to tell you what a fruit is? You're a fruit. Vegetables and fruits being used by psychologists for diagnoses. See, back in our day, we had grape nuts, so that also was used by psychologists. You're a grape nut. Well, my grapes of wrath, which back then was not banned in school by MAGA evangelicals. Ban all books. See, the church is already far ahead of evangelicals. They're so way behind. The church has been telling Mormons not to read the wisdom of the world forever. Seriously? Seriously? Grapes of Wrath is an American realist novel. God, why do you do this? I only want that. By John Steinbeck and published in 1939. The book won the National Book Award and Pulitzer Prize for fiction. Realist? And it was cited prominently when Steinbeck was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1962. Set during the Great Depression, the novel focuses on the Joads, a poor family of tenant farmers driven from Oklahoma, home by drought, economic hardship, agricultural industrial changes, and bank foreclosures, forcing tenant farmers out of work, deported due to their nearly hopeless situation, and in part because they are trapped in the Dust Bowl. Climate change back in those days. The Joads set out for California, and I probably bet you don't even know how they fixed that problem, do you? Ginseng. They set out for California on the Mother Road, along with thousands of other Okies seeking jobs, land, dignity, and a future. The Grapes of Wrath is frequently read in American high school and college literature classes due to its historical context and enduring legacy. A Hollywood film version starring Henry Fonda and directed by John Ford was released in 1940. Does YouTube have it? They probably make you pay for it. I Out of all the women they ban, they don't ban any of these. Yep, you gotta pay for it. The Grapes of Wrath. Henry Fonda. There's a playlist that breaks it up into 2 minutes. Whoops. And then a full video enjoying traveling by car, a relaxing trip that makes your heart calm. 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 3 seconds. And then a bunch of clips. The most underrated scene from Grapes of Wrath. And let the juice drain down off of my chin. How empathy kinda works. Grapes of Wrath scene. On Hulu and Hulu on Disney. Stream TV shows, movies, and more. The final scene, Grapes of Wrath, 1940. California had been nuked for turning on ice. Battle, Los Angeles. Let's see if it's available. The Grapes of Wrath PDF. So Liberty Union High School District has a PDF version. That's 313 pages. My files are all disarrayed. All disarrayed. So now we've made sure that we have it, if I didn't already get it before. Fruit is the result of the seed, and thus a false prophet is identified by the results of their words. See, the first test you run, if they are a religious leader claiming scriptures, is to make sure that they quote the scriptures correctly. Because Nelson has a habit of not quoting the scriptures correctly. You need to check them. That's your first big clue that he ain't true. You run the bleeping test. Right here, plagiarized in the Book of Mormon, errors and all. Because again, you got to do it for the English translation of the Bible too. We believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly. And instead, this church has led Mormons to believe that if it's plagiarized in the Book of Mormon, that means that the Bible is actually correctly translated. Ignore the parts where the Book of Mormon corrects the fake, false translations. Not just interpretations by Christians. And then, if they are quoting the scriptures correctly, you should have already run the test on the scriptures to find out if these are true. And so if a man just quotes from the Bible, all right, good, you're preaching truth because you're quoting. But Nelson also comes up with his own stuff, for which you also need to run the test. Find out the consequences. Because maybe he is correcting the errors of the Bible with his alternative interpretations. Run the bleeping test, and Mormons will never do it. And Book of Mormon also has, we will liken the word unto a seed. Alma chapter 32, starting in verse 28. And it brings up that tree of life. You know, that dream vision prophecy Lehi, and then Nephi. They're not literal history. You chose wrong in your interpretation. They're Jewish prophecies of the latter days about the Jewish Christ. Yep, seek Jesus Christ and you will find him in the temple. Automatically false. Not just because it's not about the physical being of Jesus, but it's also Jesus. There is no such Christ. He's a fake Christ. And all Christians are angry when you say that. But then they deny the first creed of Christianity, which says Jesus is not real. You just have to have faith without works. Trust in the Lord that the Jewish scriptures are false, and so we turned them Christian. Now the authors are true. Because the Jewish authors were wrong, just like Joseph Smith is wrong in the first vision, where he gets the name of the church wrong. So Willard Richards corrected it and wrote in on the original document, Jesus Christ. Then the second vision, oh my hell. Joseph. It's Moroni, not Nephi. You're wrong, Joseph. And then we've never corrected that it's golden, not gold. We just ignore gold. Joseph is wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We have to correct him. And so all of the passages in both the Book of Mormon and by Joseph Smith are wrong when they talk of the Jewish Christ, of Jewish scriptures of the Bible, and of the Book of Mormon, and of Joseph Smith. Wrong. Our founder is wrong. And you don't have a clue what you're saying. Because you're saying he's a false prophet. The Book of Mormon is preaching falsehoods by turning them Christian. And thus the founder is null and void and wrong. And so you are a true succession of what's wrong. Because you've turned it right? Yeah, you and Christians, what the hell? If the Bible is wrong, as Jewish, by Jewish authors of the Jewish religion about the Jewish Christ, then you can't use them and turn them Christian. You've got to come up with your own scriptures and make them Christian. Not claim they were written by Jews. You can't steal somebody else's scriptures and claim them as yours and turn them your religion and now claim they're true. Do you not understand the simple, basic, agricultural, scientific process of seed to fruit by which you're supposed to judge? Oh my hell. So Mormons, if the Book of Mormon's not Jewish, if Joseph Smith is not the founder of the church, setting up Mormons for the coming of the physical flesh baby Jesus, who's not named Jesus but Emmanuel, who's going to be a Mormon, then you've got to come up with your own scriptures. You need to say, Joseph is wrong. We're cutting ties with him and forming our own religion and making it right. You can't claim the Bible that the Christians turned Christian, because they weren't supposed to do that either. They're supposed to create their own scriptures. Islam got the right idea, but then wrote in their added scripture that the Bible is correct as interpreted by Christians, except for Jesus is Islamic now. He's an Islamic sleeper cell fooling Christians among the Jews during the Roman period of time. But he's coming back for the second coming to murder Christians and Jews and save Islam. The test is so simple. It is so simple. You don't have to have the knowledge that I have to run that basic scriptural test. To find out if it is true and then use it on all of the living prophets of Jesus since Brigham Young to know that they're automatically wrong. Just run the bleeping test. It's all you have to do. And then, when you find out they're false, you don't need to have a faith crisis, because you're running the test to find out who's true. And it means you found out that the Book of Mormon is, as it says it is, Jewish. That Joseph Smith is as he said he is, and now you've found the forged documents of Brigham Young that he is Jewish. And so now you're faced with the decision, do you want to be a part of that Jewish church, or do you want to still keep living in denial fantasy land that Jesus is coming in the flesh and you're waiting for him, even though Nelson just told you, yeah, he ain't showing. But if you go to the temple, which means you have to pay up, then you'll see him if you're worthy enough. Do you see him? Are you worthy enough? See, Martin Harris believed in the plates that way. That's what they're taunting you about. They know the plates aren't real. That's why they call them golden and not gold. Because Section 5, Martin Harris wants to come back because there was no there in the 116 pages. And they then threw him away as crap anyway. The Anti-Mason Committee in Palmyra. And so, he comes back saying, I want to be a part of this again, I'm sorry. Oh, you desire a witness of the plates, do you? I see them now! Alright, whatever. Bear testimony of it. Book of Mormon is true. And you can pay for the Book of Mormon. Because I spent the $2,000 on a home in Susquehanna County while you stole the plates, or the pages. How I got that money, I don't know. My silver mining failed and was sued for it as a glass looker. My treasure digging didn't work either. But that other person who did the video, that pastor, did the video and the picture, thumbnail picture. Oh, Joseph got so rich. All that gold. All that gold. Joseph was so rich. Think before you speak, because we have to run the test on you.